I need to make a confession. There are times when I don't know what I'm doing. I mean at work, not just in life. So that's what this video is all about, because there have been numerous times during my working career, some famous, some not so famous, that I've been asked to do something from my manager or my boss, and I think to myself, did you make a mistake? Did you mean to ask somebody else to do that? Because I have no clue how to do what you just asked me to do. You might think I do, but I don't. And it's terrifying. So we're going to talk about that today in this video. Hi, I'm Joe from Vox Victoria. Thank you to everyone who has watched these videos, who has subscribed, and who likes them. I'm truly, truly grateful. This is part of the career series where I hope to help you with your career and give you the advice and provide some examples of things that I've done over the course of my career that hopefully will help you. So I was thinking the other day, because I got into a situation, even now after 40 years in the corporate work environment, I still get assigned tasks assigned to me, and I think to myself, honestly, I have no idea how to do that. Even though my manager is fantastic, there are things that come along and I say, oh God, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to do that. Can you please help me? So here, this is going to happen to you inevitably. And here's how I solve it. I learned to do this years ago, and I'm going to share this with you now. You can approach this from a couple different angles. If your boss or your manager says to you, let's have a meeting, get together and talk about some stuff that's coming down the road, that's great. These days, if it's like a Zoom call or something, you can record it and say to your boss, when you start getting into the nuts and bolts of the thing that he or she wants you to do, and you know it's going to be a challenge for you, and you know you're going to struggle with it, say, can you share your screen? Give me an example, and can we please record this? That way, you have an actual recording of it, and you can watch that after the fact, right? If they don't record it, you could actually type notes in the meeting when your boss is asking you to do this particular thing that you don't know how to do. So what I'm saying here is that you need to catalog as much as you can in the initial meeting where this is being presented to you. Like, we'd now like you to do this impossible task, which you've never done before, and P.S. don't screw it up. So you can take notes there, right? And get it, type as fast as you can, and listen as well as you can, and get that all cataloged, right? What you don't want to do is make a mistake, right? You don't want to screw this up. You don't want to have a disaster. You don't want to look bad. You don't want to make big mistakes. So, for some reason, your manager might be overconfident in you, or you might be underconfident, or whatever. But the idea here is, when someone asks you to do something and you don't know how to do it, you need to have the courage to slow down and stop and ask them questions and say to them, can we record this? Can you do an example so I'll see it? And can we catalog it somehow that I can go back and look at it? Most of the time they're going to say yes. Sometimes they might say to you, and this is where you're going to get into trouble. If they say to you, oh, we don't need to record it, it's really straightforward, I'm sure you can forget this, right? That's the kiss of death, because you panic in your mind when you hear that. They do what they want you to do as an example, and then they go away and you're like, what just happened? I have no idea how to do this thing that they're asking me to do. So what I'm telling you is, this happens constantly over the course of your work life. You're going to be asked to do things by people, and as smart as you are, and as experienced as you are, and as capable as you are, you might say to yourself, I have no idea how to do that. I'm going to fail. But here are the things that I want you to remember when that happens to you. Ask up front, can we catalog this? Can we record this? Can we write this down? Can you give me an example in an email that I can look at later? Can I do one and show it to you? Right? That's another way. And then you get it sort of partially right, and they say, oh, you forgot this piece and this piece and this piece, and then you get the whole of it, right? So the other thing you might be doing is working with someone else, right? You could team up with someone, and hopefully that person is in the meeting as well, And, if you missed pieces, they may have pieces, so you can work together as a team to get these things done. But I'm telling you, it's just a symptom of working for other people. They are going to say to you, I need you to do the following. And one famous example, when I was younger, I worked for an architectural firm, and a great, great architect and a great human being said to me, I want you to sit down with these drawings and find out where any errors are. So in other words, there was a building being constructed that it didn't exist yet. They had the drawings for the building, and this guy wanted me to look at those drawings and make sure the drawings were correct. I was like 22 years old. I'm looking at this, I'm sweating bullets. I'm thinking, this building is going to collapse because of me. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I sat there, my young past self, for about an hour and a half, and I really was panicking. And finally I worked up the courage to go over to him and say to him, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm doing this all wrong. So he was so gracious, and he knew that I didn't know what I was doing, but what he was doing was giving me the opportunity to look at these drawings and learn. But he did take the time then to help me understand what needed to be done, and he showed me. So that was a great experience, right? So you have to weigh these things out if someone asks you to do something that you don't know how to do. You cannot be afraid to raise your hand and ask for additional help. Because if you try to get through this and it's wrong, then everyone is set back, and you look bad. And listen, you're not in the business of looking bad. That's why you're watching these videos. I'm here to help you. So whenever someone asks you to do something and you don't know how to do it, do them a favor and do yourself a favor and say, could you provide me some more clarity around this topic? Could we do one together? Can you show me an example? Can we get together? I'll do one and you can check it over to make sure that I'm doing this work correctly, right? And they might make a face or whatever, they might be busy, but believe me, once you get it down and you take notes and you document it, you can go back to those notes and that documentation and learn how to do this thing again. Because oftentimes what happens is they ask you to do these things, you get through it and you're like, oh, whew, thank goodness I got through that. And you kind of put it out of your mind, but then 6 months later, they come back to you and ask you to do either the same thing or something similar, and they say, oh yeah, you're an expert. Expert because I did it once like 100 years ago and barely got through it. So you need to be prepared for this. Become a note taker. Become an archivist. Become a scribe. And keep your own notes in your own file, right? Nobody does this these days. It's kind of a dying art. And I'm trying to help you understand that this is enormously important. When you do something for the first time, take notes on how to do it and save those notes in a place where you can find them. Write those notes in a way that you're writing for someone who has dropped down from another corner of the universe and may have to do this, in case you would have to present those notes to them on how to do this particular thing that you were asked to do that you never did before. The other thing you can do is if it's a particular person or a particular manager who is maybe not the best at communicating, or you just don't click with them and they ask you all the time to do things that you have no idea how to do, you would probably have to set up a meeting with them. Example. I once worked with this great guy who was really important in the organization. He was funny, he was brilliant, he was always good to me. But when we worked together, he would call me up and say, I need you to do this thing. And honestly, every single time I had no idea what he was talking about. So I used to call him Mr. Impossible Tasks, because he would assign these impossible tasks to me. And I think part of doing that was because he had faith in me. He knew I could figure things out. And I later realized that he knew the chances of these tasks being completed was sort of slim, but he knew he could come to me because I would try. And I would document the process. And I wasn't afraid to ask him for help. And those were the things that mattered to him. And most of the time I surprised myself. I was able to get him what he needed. Part of the time I got part of it, and he said, okay, great, we're halfway there. Let's sit together and work on this and get this straightened out together. So the other thing you need to know about when people ask you to do things in the workplace that you don't know how to do is take notes for yourself and imagine you're on the other side of that. Imagine you're now asking someone in the organization or who you're managing on your team or in life to do something that you've done many times that you're comfortable with, but they've never done. You'll need to slow that down for them and teach them how to do that and to be patient with them and help them to understand. I found across the board that when you raise your hand and you ask for help, people will slow down and they will give you what you need. And that's part of what you need to learn as you're a manager or you're going through your career and you want to be effective. If you ask someone to do something that's outside of their regular operations, chances are they don't know how to do that. So you'll need to give them a fighting chance. Explain it to them. Do an example for them. Give them the documentation. Work with them so that they get it right. And praise them for getting it right. That's going to make them feel great. And then all of a sudden, you have a new person who knows how to do something they never did before that you can count on and you can go to when you need that person. Sounds like a subtle thing in the workplace, but it happens all the time. And I've seen great disasters come up because of this. So I wanted to make this video and open your mind and open your eyes a little bit to these things. You're not dumb. You're not weak. You're not stupid. You can do it. You're really, really smart and you're capable. And the signs of a smart and capable person are when you don't know how to do something, you raise your hand and ask for additional help. Then you become the expert. All right, that's it for this video on when you don't know how to do something, how to learn how to do it. That's going to benefit you, I hope. Thanks for watching. I'm Joe. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.